Hi, I'm Robert Mullins, and welcome to today's session on what is pain and how I can change the way I think about it. The objectives for today, as you can see, we have quite a few things we're going to cover, but we're going to work through them step by step. The objectives for today to discuss what pain is and the difference between basically compare and contrast acute and chronic persistent pain, discuss the neurological pathways associated with pain, and understand various ways we can rewire the brain to assist with pain mitigation. So what is the difference between acute and persistent or chronic pain? As you can see on the board here, I have broken down some of the various different things. Now, one thing I do want to make sure is consistent is no matter what, pain does have a purpose, okay? Whether it's persistent or acute, it's a way of letting the body know something's wrong, okay? So what really is the difference? Acute pain is a result of damage that occurs from like a paper cut, a pinprick, where tissue is damaged. This is the natural body's response to danger and serves as a protection and prevention. Chronic or persistent pain is different from acute pain because there is no longer the presence of tissue damage. In truthfulness, it provides no real purpose of prevention or protection. The true source of chronic pain can be explained through the analogy of a major weather event. Imagine your first experience with a major storm, whether it be a hurricane, tornado, hailstorm, lightning. Welcome to Colorado. Here we always experience lightning quite a bit, and it does happen. All are powerful events, but after you experience, does it seem that every storm is going to be a major event? The wind picks up, you think it's a tornado. Big drops of rain, you think your car's being hailed. This is a great example of basically that transition from acute pain to chronic pain, where we become more sensitive to the situation when there is really nothing to be concerned about. It is important to know that the mechanisms for acute and chronic persistent pain are very different, and that is why each must be addressed accordingly to the individual. So now that we've discussed the differences between both acute and persistent pain, let's take a closer look at the neurological pathway that is producing these responses. Now, I don't expect you to know all these terms or anything like that. I'm going to basically try and break it down as simple as I can. This, basically what we're looking at is the spinothalamic tract, which is basically going to transmit, of course, that danger, that nail, or whatever pain we're experiencing to one of, mechanical, chemical, or temperature receptors that we have in the body, which then is going to transmit up into the brain. So, according to the diagram, the signal for pain starts at the receptors, as we've discussed here, which transmits or excites a neuron through an action potential. From this all or none point, a message is then sent through our wonderful spinal column, where we hit the vertebrae, depending on the location of where it's happening, whether it's lower extremity like your legs or your arms, and then transmits up through the medulla, the pons, the midbrain, into the actual cerebral cortex. Now, for you to understand, all you really need to know is we're going through the spinal column to the brain, where basically, like a computer system, we're going to do translation and everything of that message to retransmit something down to cause some kind of movement according to that pain stimulus. Really, when it comes down to it, we're not going to go too much more in depth into the pain pathway, mainly because, as you can see, there's a lot more to this. It can actually get fairly complex and muddy. And so really the big takeaway message is transmitted to the brain, that message, and then it's compiled, translated, refined according to your previous experiences, and then resent back to the necessary responding muscles. The only real difference is that acute is a response to a pinprick, and that persistent can be associated to your fear of a test, anxiety, stress, anything that can elicit a similar response as the acute, with the exception to tissue damage. Now, how we can address some of these chronic pains, there's a variety of routes to go. Recommended options include knowledge and education, which is what we're doing right here. Graded motor imagery or mirror therapy, where we basically are going to try and trick the brain that the injured leg, as compared to the good leg, is actually moving, or arm, or whatever, and causing a response that really, there is no need for that pain. Other techniques that we actually go into is just the encouragement of exercise and activity, getting out there, having one's control of life, being able to do the things like you used to hike, can stimulate a great positive emotion, which can decrease those negative emotions of stress, fear, and anxiety that are associated to pain. Now, along with those prevention measures, you also have other things, breathing techniques and meditation. The goal is basically, like I said, is to create an environment within the mind and body that is supportive of pain prevention, that includes reduced stressors, adequate sleep, and adequate exercise. Mindfulness is the key to accomplishing all of these, and with time and practice, one can accomplish control over pain, similar to learning how to throw a baseball or driving a car. I just want to say one last time, thank you for your time today, and I hope that the information provided allows for a better understanding of pain and methods on how you can actually rewire your brain. Thank you.